Hello and welcome to another jungle video, and in this one I am finally going to address the jungle experience changes and the meta. That's because I'm getting a lot of absolutely ridiculous comments about, hey, I'm giving up jungle because it will suck. Or now you don't get level 3 from doing 3 camps and you don't get level 4 from doing 4 camps. That's nonsense. Some people even think farming junglers will continue to dominate the meta. We will go over the changes, how they will impact you, what I think might be happening in terms of jungle meta, and then I will give my comments and views on why the jungle position isn't exactly played that much, despite the fact that it can have the most power on the map. And I will have a side-by-side example showing you the experience loss and gold loss, comparing live to the changes coming up in 11.4. So as always, if you do enjoy the content, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Last time we did a video like this, we got 1,000 comments. I don't think we'll beat that, but if we can, I'm gonna laugh. And now without hesitation, let us begin. Right, first off, let's look at what the changes actually are, and then we can discuss whether they are good or not. These were all freshly updated yesterday. Gromp. The biggest shift with the experience changes to the camps that are getting it is that the range of experience has been condensed. That means while Gromp is receiving a 10 experience nerf at level 1, our favorite enchanted toad is also losing quite a lot at max level. The gold is 20 gold reduced and the health is increased by 100. That means it will take a little bit longer to take Gromp. This is not such a bad change considering how much mana and HP you get upon slaying him, but it will affect those buff Gromp gankers just a little bit. The next change we're going to have is to the large Krug and the small Krug, you know, the teeny tiny babies. The same thing here, you're seeing a slight reduction in that level 1 experience from the large Krug as well as the babies. Remember that experience reduction on the small Krug is for each of them, and there are multiple to slay. And combined, that is a pretty decent nerf even at max levels as well, and that's because farming junglers who just rinse clear get to take this camp and really make use of it, whereas those who, need to match that tempo of farming by ganking or skipping that camp entirely, usually to make sure your rotations are faster, your objective control is better, and your ganking is more frequent than a regular farming jungler. Gold is also down from 42 to 32 on the large Krug. They did not go through with the gold nerf to the baby. Finally, we have the Razorbeak. That is the big giant mama chicken. There was an HP increase to her as well, but they removed that change. I think that would have been hugely interesting considering the fact that Raptors is probably the most counter-jungled camp in the game, and I don't even think it's close. Yes, it would have meant Warwick and Sharkamanes are just crying even more trying to take this camp, but at the same time it means enemy junglers would have to take longer to steal it from you. Regardless, we still have an experience nerf at level 1 like the other camps, and a reduction at max rank in addition to a 10 gold shift. Overall, junglers are going to be 40 gold poorer upon each 4 camp clear. And to give you some kind of indication as to what expect in a vacuum, I have a Volibear on live and an Ornn on PBE. The time it takes to clear the jungle will increase ever so slightly because of the Gromp HP change, but that will shift based upon your jungling and your itemization, so that's not really what we're comparing. Simply the experience differences you might have on live versus what is coming up, as well as the gold differential. And as an average disclaimer, remember that camps will spawn based upon the average level of the champions in the game. When I'm the only one in the game, it's gonna go according to my level, so things might be a little bit more elevated than they otherwise would, so just please keep that in mind. After a 6 camp full clear, guess what? You still get level 4. However, instead of having, 91 base out of 580 to get to level 5, you have 48. And once you've secured a crab, your gold at 3 minutes 44 will be 887 instead of 933. A nice shift. And remember, yes, the total loss of gold is 40 upon your full clear. However, because it's PBE, the numbers can be sometimes strange. And the fact that I'm playing on 200 ping, just use these as approximations, but they should give you a great indicator. Now, if you go take that second crab and then you do a full tier 2 sequence, that means you take all the second spawn of the 4 camps, you're looking at having 576 out of 680 to get to level 6 versus 662 on live. Now at this point, if you've only been farming, I'd say this is kind of unrealistic. Yeah, you'll be really close to level 6. If you even had one little gank, a drive-by in the mid lane, you cleared a ward, you will be level 6, and now you can actually go and use that ultimate. In the same situation on the patch coming up, you might not get there if you are really AFK and PvEing, which is good. I don't think you should be rewarded for that. This will stop your level 6 power spike ultimate before laners are ready and before you've even gotten your second buffs. And once you've done that at 5 minutes 17, you're looking at 1531 gold versus 1626. This is starting to add up. Then of course we do our tier 3 camps plus our buffs. This will get us to level 7, 270 out of 880 on the next patch, whereas currently we'd be at 394. The gold at 8 minutes 02 would be 2,437 versus 2,572 on live. Now at this point you can see, right, we're looking at approximately 140, 150 gold In terms of completing core itemization, mythics, boots, components, control wards, that will mean something significant. And just for the sake of completion, a tier 4 rotation to get you level 8, you'll be at 204 experience on the next patch versus 384 currently. And at this point, if you haven't ganked, haven't gotten a kill, a dragon, a ward, or anything like that, or counter jungled, then you're an absolutely terrible jungler and the gold amount doesn't matter. Sorry, I don't mean to flame, but you know, it's 10 minutes at this point in the game. Come on. So there you can see the biggest thing, you know, while the experience is notable, it's not really a huge difference. You are still reaching core levels at the same time as you are now, but you have significantly less gold to spend on those wards and complete core items. If you don't currently play one of the dominant meta farming junglers, especially in high elo, you know full well you're gonna go and try and make impact on the map with a gank. You're gonna try 3-4 camp, 5 camp maybe. You're gonna ignore the Krugs a little bit. You're gonna try get those dragons. But if one thing goes wrong, all of a sudden the enemy jungler counter jungles you. You will completely lose control of your jungle and they will be 1 to 2 levels up on you very quickly, being rewarded for basically doing nothing. Now this isn't happening to good junglers, right? Obviously between the camp spawning, they're looking to do things and secure objectives. It's just very difficult to match up with them if you don't have a similar clear speed. Udyr is a big problem right now for the same reason. These changes will also mean that counter jungling a ganking jungler while they're busy doing mid and bottom lane things doesn't ruin their game. It's horrible basically sequencing down for full clear, ganking the bottom lane, the other jungler takes your tier 2 Gromp and tier 2 Wolves, reset takes his tier 2 Krugs and tier 2 Raptors, and now you're down half an experience bar, but he hasn't even shown. In my opinion, that is not okay, and I'm glad this change is coming through for junglers that are not as concerned about just not showing up. It also means that if you're a farming jungler, your Karthus or Fiddlesticks, you can AFK rinse clear like you have been, but if you have no map impact, you won't be as easily able to match or exceed the experience of the other jungler who is having a strong influence over the game. That's because on the Gromp, on the large Raptor, on the large Krugs, the experience range has been squashed. And by that I mean those level 9 camps will not have as much experience given to you as they are currently. That's why clearing so quickly and sequencing the whole map was so powerful, is because you kept getting more and more experience that a non-farming jungler just couldn't match. This has been tapered in just a little bit. And it's a good change because one bad fight from a ganking jungler doesn't let them basically never get into the game again, because the XP accrued by the enemy jungler won't be insurmountable due to your ganks and objective control. And overall, it is a good change because if you are complaining that you can't jungle without ganking, then you shouldn't be jungling in the first place. I believe World of Warcraft is a better game. Now this doesn't mean a low ganking jungle is bad, it just means if you really don't show up whatsoever, you shouldn't be rewarded for it. Obviously counter jungling and farming well and getting 2 level leads, these are good things within your team comp. High elo laners are excited, other junglers who don't play farming junglers are excited. And if we might use a self-made tweet, I can basically paraphrase it into my own words. Laners, you think this is good, I know you're excited, but if we're missing 150 gold from 2 full clears, where do you think we're gonna make that up? Where do you think we're gonna make up the experience to get us at level 6 we want? Through farming? No. You will be the culprit. You won't enjoy us ganking more, trust me. But if you understand jungling and tracking, you can ward and protect yourselves. But please understand, these experience shifts are major enough to shift the entire jungle meta, and that's why people don't like playing it. We will have to see the real world effect. I don't think it's going to remove farming junglers entirely. I think this is an overreaction. I will wait for the data before we sort of have a good idea of what's going on. But trust me when I say jungle isn't popular purely because we don't get these new exciting champions in the role as one. We had Set, we had Silas, we had Kiana, we had Volibear. We've had the same boring meta for almost a year now, where if you can't 5-6 camp and crab and then do it again and then have impact, you don't get to play the game. The Graves, the Hecarim, the Olaf, the Lilia. What do you see when you watch pro play? Full clears. And if you don't have lane prior, you have to give up crabs. And if you get counter jungled a few times and you have no prior, you might actually want crabs, because it would be less irritating. And now the problem is, if one jungler, like an Udyr for example now, or Hecarim throughout the last season, gets a kill or free kills in any lane where a laner makes one baby mistake, even if they're winning, if you are a lower tempo jungler, and bad things happen in that regard, you are ruined. It feels like you are out of the game. You can't farm as fast as the enemy jungler. You can't walk into the jungle and 1v1 them because they're just ahead of you and outstat you. And it really feels like if you're an early game, mid game power spiking jungler and you lost control, whether through one mistake on your own or simply a great play by the enemy jungler like in Nidalee, or that laner simply overstayed and fed them, it just felt so miserable to play. And honestly, if I have to face another Graves, I'm gonna lose my mind. 1 year of this champion. And remember, this is a bit of a higher elo perspective, because we've had a lot of variety in terms of what you can play for sure. But when cool things come out of the jungle, they just don't get to exist anymore. Pantheon just had his kneecaps shot off, shot off those glorious thighs, and Volibear's rework at this point is a failure because he's so abysmal in jungle. He was significantly better in jungle before, he could also top lane equally as well. Now he's just a top laner and jungle's forgotten. And yeah, I'm angry about it. Add into that junglers do usually get flamed a lot. Now, that's we're used to. We can mute them and we can play our game, and if we're the better jungler, we will end up winning a lot of our games. But you add in this diversity meta issue at the top of the ranks, you add in this sort of full clear counter jungle outscale meta. It's not very exciting to play either. Cool champions just don't get to exist in the jungle for whatever reason. It all adds up and the frustration becomes palpable, and it doesn't matter that the role is dominant. It simply makes it very difficult to play game in and game out and have fun. And these changes are in the right direction, at least since the Rek'Sai's. I think they are gonna find a good niche. I mean, Rek'Sai's good anyway currently, but again, she will be outscaled. She does have that issue. Any sort of jungler that can have that 3 to 5 camp and then ganking prowess will not be overtly punished because another jungler stole their camps on the opposite side. That lead will not be as great. And hopefully that at least helps with the playstyle issues. The champion issues we have to leave to Riot. A little bit ranty at the end there, but I hope you're able to understand the changes to see their possible effects. Remember to wait until the data comes in and see what other players are doing, the high elo players. All the opinions are you seeing us express our ideas about those changes. But yeah, please buff Volibear jungle. I'd like to be able to play it in high elo without griefing my team. Nerf Udyr even some more, please. Thank you very much for watching, everyone else. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Keep your eyes out for more content coming this week, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial. Buff Volibear.